Readers, we're sharing a very special book today called White Snow, Bright Snow by Alvin Trusselt and illustrated by Roger DeVoyson. One thing that makes this book very special is if you look at the tiny print in the middle there, it says that this book was copyrighted in 1947. Boys and girls, that's before any of the first grade teachers were even born. So this book has been such a classic and has been around for a long time. It also won the Caldecott Award. The Caldecott, remember, is the book chosen for that year out of all of the picture books to be the most special and most recognized one. As we're reading today, look at the illustrations and think about what you notice, and listen for some of the most beautiful language, the way the words are put together, that you'll ever hear in a picture book. Here we go. The postman said it looked like snow. The farmer said it smelled like snow. The policeman said it felt like snow. Even the rabbits knew it and scurried around in the dead leaves, while the children watched the low gray sky, waiting for the first snowflakes to fall. Then, just when no one was looking, it came. 1 flake, 2 flakes, 5, 8, 10, and suddenly the air was filled with soft, powdery snowflakes, whispering quietly as they sifted down. Now, boys and girls, you can see where I marked that page. I thought that was such great word choice. Even at the very beginning when he talked about the rabbits and he said they scurried, you can just picture little rabbits hurrying around in the dead leaves. And at the end there, when he said the air was filled with soft, powdery snowflakes, whispering quietly as they sifted down. Sifted is like a baking word. It's when you kind of take your flour and you put it in a little special sifter, and so it just makes it lighter and airier, and you squeeze the handle and the flour comes out just so slowly, lightly, instead of being packed so tightly. I can just picture the snowflakes coming down. The postman put on his rubbers. The farmer went to the barn for a snow shovel. The policeman buttoned up his coat. His wife made sure she had cough mixture in the medicine cabinet. But the children laughed and danced, trying to catch the lacy snowflakes on their tongues, while the rabbits hid in their warm burrows under the ground. Faster and faster came the tiny snowflakes, and the brown earth turned white. Fields and stone walls, roads and gutters, lawns and sidewalks, all were buried under the soft white snow. It covered the roofs of houses and piled on top of chimneys. It filled the cold tree branches and great white blossoms. And when night came, icy cold snowflakes sparkled in the light of the street lamps. The postman slipped and fell into a snowbank. The farmer dug a path from his house to the barn. The policeman got his feet wet and had to soak them in a tub of hot water. His wife put a mustard bolster on his chest so he wouldn't catch cold. And boys and girls, that's kind of an old-fashioned thing that people would do, thinking it would help you not get sick. The rabbits stirred in their sleep, deep in their warm burrows, under the ground, under the snow. And the children dreamed of snow houses and snowmen as they slept in their snug beds under the rooftops, under the snow. Silently, the frost made pictures of ice ferns on the window panes. Then, without a sound, just when everybody was asleep, the snow stopped and bright stars filled the night. In the morning, a clear blue sky was overhead, and blue shadows hid in all the corners. Automobiles looked like big fat raisins buried in snowdrifts. Houses crouched together, their windows peeking out from under great white eyebrows. Even the church steeple wore a pointed cap on its top. I marked that as great description too. When an author uses a comparison of something where he said automobiles look like big fat raisins, that means that the cars just look like big fat raisins under all of that snow. And the illustrator put in this 2-page spread so you can just see how much snow covered it and how the tops of the houses kind of look like a little eyebrow, as they described. Now, when we're not used to this much, I think beautiful illustrations like this help you to picture and imagine what it must be like. Think of that little dog and how he's trying to trudge through the snow, probably. The postman put away his rubbers and took out his high boots. The farmer milked his cows in a barn filled with bright snow light. The policeman had a chill and stayed in bed. His wife sat in a rocker and knitted a long woolen scarf for him. There's her cough medicine right on the nightstand, ready to give him. The rabbits hopped about as best they could, making long, funny rabbit tracks in the soft snow. The children made a snowman, a snow house, a snow fort, and then had a snowball fight. The wind pushed light puffs of white from the branches, while the melting snow on rooftops drip, drip, dripped into long, shiny icicles. Each day the sun grew stronger and the snow melted. Big patches of soft, muddy ground showed through the snow in the fields. The sound of dripping, running water and the smell of wet brown earth filled the warm air. Now the branches were bare again, and gray pussy willows pushed out of their brown shells. Fence posts lost their dunce caps. The snowman's arms dropped off, and running water gurgled in gutters and rain pipes. The postman slowly delivered his mail so he could enjoy the bright sunshine. The farmer let his cows out in the barnyard for the first time since winter began. The policeman's cold was better, and he swung his club in the air as he walked in the park. His wife dug around under the lilac bush, looking for the snowdrops and crocuses that grew there, while the rabbits spent all their time hopping about in the warm world above the ground. And the children watched for the first robin to tell them spring had really come. What did you think, boys and girls? Maybe not the most exciting book with like a problem and big solution like we sometimes see in our books, but I love that it had a pattern like we do see in books today, where those characters came in and the author would tell about what each one of them was doing in the same order. And I think that these illustrations were kind of interesting, don't you? How they just used the simple colors, just kind of white and a dark brown or black, and the pop of kind of a rusty red and that yellow. It made it really interesting. I think this author's beautiful word choice and the way he described everything still makes this book relevant and important for us today, even 60 years later from the time he wrote it. Off you go.